Ah, shit.
Was that in the original one? I don't feel like that line was canonical.
That's me just remembering that I might have already done this one.
I have a feeling you have, yeah.
Can we take it back?
This is from the sequel. This is from the Magic Roundabout 2.
This is from the movie that didn't do very well.
The straight-to-DVD movie.
Safari and this.
Yep. Just keep pumping out those hits here.
I've got a good record.
We've got a fantastic record of making phenomenal movies. Between fiasco and sequels to popular children's TV shows in movie format.
That's where the money is.
It sure is.
I apologise if I sound crap, by the way. We've had technical difficulties and, yep, this is what we've ended up with.
It's unfortunate, but things happen, so you've got a job for the week then, which is fix your mic.
Well, will he succeed or will he fail miserably?
You're going to wait till next Sunday evening, and then you're going to go, oh crap, I haven't fixed my mic, aren't you?
Maybe.
Yes, you are. I know you are.
Introduce the podcast, man.
Welcome to Bottom Mash Podcast. We have technical difficulties.
Hey!
Today's theme tune is a repeat of something we've had before. That's the Magic Roundabout 2, sung by Michael.
Hello, I apologise for ruining everything.
Yes, everything is ruined forever because we didn't get a different theme tune. That is integral to our entire organisation. The different theme tunes are what make us us.
Everything is ruined.
You could have sung that! Why didn't you sing that?
That's the next week.
Okay.
If I get the mic working, if the mic's working, we can do it proper justice.
Okay, good. Excellent. We're also joined this week by Will.
Hello.
And my throat is still a disaster, so excellent. I'm going to be coughing and spluttering and being horrible. Just what you're looking forward to in a podcast.
We're off to a hell of a start here.
Well, you guys can carry it without me, right? You guys can just talk amongst yourselves for 2 hours.
Yeah, but not about
that'll totally work.
We'll talk, but it won't be about video games. So.
Well, as long as it's tangentially related to things people are interested in, I'm sure it'll be fine.
I was going to ask what you thought about the wind, but...
Yes. Wow.
Let's be really British and talk about the weather.
That suddenly turned into such a British podcast.
Hey, it's our target audience.
So how's the weather where you are? Oh, I can't complain, you know. Cup of tea.
What are you talking about? It's been really windy.
It wasn't literal. Oh, never mind. I was just parodying a British podcast.
That's such an untapped market.
What excellent varieties of tea have you sampled this week?
I've had a nice Earl Grey this morning.
Oh, delicious. I've just been sampling some pu'er myself.
Oh, charming, dear boy, charming.
And I know that's not even a joke. I literally have. My dad got me a bag of it for Christmas. He said, "It's one that grows on you." Actually, to turn this into an actual tea podcast, why not? I didn't like it at first, but now that I've had a few cups, it's growing on me. It's a bit of an acquired taste. I quite like it. It comes in. Sorry.
Do you take milk with that?
No, good lord, no. So that's tea sampled black. It comes in. It's packaged in a kind of a cute little way. It's in. I believe the official term for it is a pucha, which is basically a little paper bag. It's kind of like the same paper you'd use for a tea bag, but they wrap it in a little ball really, really, really tightly. And if you're like going somewhere and don't want to take your entire container of tea, and you just want to take enough to make a few cups of tea, you can just grab one or two little paper balls and just put them in your pocket or wherever, and then you can unwrap the ball, and then you've got tea.
That is a fascinating and informative conversation. Thank you.
I've always wanted to store tea in my pockets. Always.
Well, why wouldn't you?
And now I have an outlet for it.
I thought it was a really good idea. I don't know when I would use it, but I like the idea.
The dream is now a reality.
It's already in portions as well. You don't need to like, oh, am I putting too much, too little, and how much tea do I use? It's a tea portion. I realise the tea bags solve this issue pretty well, but the stuff you get in tea bags is crap. I'm talking about proper tea here.
Well, you know what goes well with a cup of tea?
What goes well with a cup of tea?
Playing a video game. What have you played this week?
Oh, I like that.
When I'm the one putting us back on order, we're screwed.
Oh, I don't mind talking about tea. I can do that for a while. But video games, sure. We are the Button Mash podcast. We talk about video games and video games accessories and tea and the weather.
Because that's what you do.
Because
and cricket. And cricket, because everybody plays cricket in Britain.
Yeah, that's what we all do. Of course it is. Right.
Well, we're all massively racist too.
Wow. Are we?
Well, history would dictate so, yes.
Okay. Speak for yourself, but I'm not voting UKIP myself.
I'm personally not, no.
Hello and welcome to the UKIP podcast. We talk about those damn foreigners taking our jobs.
The views of the Button Mash podcast host, as well as...
The views of Nigel Farage do not represent the Button Mash podcast. At least I presume they don't. I don't know about you guys. They don't represent my views.
The views of Nigel Farage are wrong.
Yes, we'll go with that. That's accurate. I will accept this. Let's do video games. Let's do that. That's the thing. What have people been playing?
I've been playing along with Uncharted. I haven't quite managed to get back onto the Football Manager game yet. I'm still reeling from the heart.
Recovering from the shock, yes.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to therapy.
Right. How's Uncharted going then?
Pretty solid. I think I'm about 40% of the way through.
That's a specific figure.
I don't know. The thingy on the game tells me how I'm doing.
Oh, it's got a "this is how well you're doing." That tends to be a bit weird with some games. Some games are like, yes, this is the percentage of all things you completed, but I don't know. I can't speak for Uncharted, but a lot of things it's like, yeah, we're measuring that as a percentage of all the things you've got, and there are 5,000 things to find in the world on your way through. You must go and collect every pigeon and package and...
Oh no, if we're talking about hidden treasure, I've completed like 2% of the game.
Ah, right, yeah. So I know, well, the pigeon is obviously GTA San Andreas, and I know that one measured it as a percentage of all the things you'd found, and there was just ridiculous things. I think it had like different collectibles on each island in the game. So like the first one you had to like clean up graffiti, and then the second one there was something else, and then if you went into the ocean there were like pearls at the bottom of it you had to find. And then there were hidden packages that had weapons and shit, and I was like, there's stuff in there that was just ridiculous. And then he just said, yes, you completed 50% of the game by the time you finished the story. And I was like, whoa, where's the rest of it? Hang on, is there a sequel?
Yeah.
Well, it's GTA, yes, there are always sequels, but hey.
The day that they release a GTA game without a sequel will be the day humanity stops.
Yes, and we got, speaking of GTA, we got GTA 5 coming out soon on PC.
Ooh.
I don't know why I did that in a spooky voice. It's a spooky game, obviously.
Yeah, those ghosts in GTA.
Well, there's a lot of dead people, so they can probably come back and haunt you.
That's a hell of an idea, actually, a GTA Ghost Edition.
That said, it's on PC, so chances are people are going to mod it, so what we need is a ghost mod for it. You will be perpetually haunted by the spirit of every person you kill in the game. Make it happen. Just so that by the end of the game you've just got like 500 ghosts following you around everywhere and bringing your frame rate down to 2.
I think it would work better if the ghosts were quite passive and they were just following you around and it's just like, guys, will you leave me alone for 5 seconds?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking they would particularly do anything, just sort of follow you around as a reminder of your past and all the people you have harmed. Every time you blow up an innocent person, or even not necessarily, just someone who, you know, it was not yet their time, they will forever be attached to you through some sort of soul link, and they will follow you around just to weigh on your mind, to guilt you into, I don't know,
Not
blowing yourself up and then respawning at the hospital, I guess.
Yeah.
Not robbing that liquor store.
Yeah. So that's a thing. So, you guys going to be checking that out?
Not really. I haven't actually played a GTA game since Vice City.
Ooh, that's going back a bit. Okay.
I know, a long time ago. PS2.
I always seem to sample the GTA games, but I never seem to be able to really commit to them.
San Andreas I played back in university, so it was on the PS2 that was kind of in the communal area in the halls we're in, so it was just kind of always on the sides, so it took us a very long time to get through the story all in all, because it was mostly just people dicking about in a giant sandbox. It was like, nobody really committed to the story to any great deal, so much as they just decided to take silly vehicles up to the top of the mountain and drive them off the top. And there was quite a lot of that went on.
I can't really have fun in a GTA game without the cheats.
San Andreas.
That's most of the game for me.
Yeah, San Andreas, we kind of had most of the cheats memorized, because it was all you had to know the button combination. So if you knew the right combination of buttons, you could just fire it off really quickly and just like...
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, I've got 5 stars. Boom. Okay, I've got a rocket launcher. Haha, fuck you. So yeah.
You haven't made it in the world until you've got that rocket launch cheat.
I knew all the weapons codes off by heart, as well as a few others. I don't know if I still do. I still have a damn good go at them. But yeah, the jetpack one as well. The jetpack one, it was because...
Oh yeah, I remember the jetpack one.
Yeah, weapons you tend to hang on to for a while, so you don't necessarily need them all the time. You need them fairly frequently, but not all the time. Whereas the jetpack one, it was like, oh, I'm in trouble, and away! He's just straight up into the sky. Oh, that guy wants me dead. What's his name? CJ, away!
Arg!
You're basically Superman, yes. I must go, my planet needs me. So yes, that was the thing. I quite enjoyed that. GTA 4 had cheats, but they were shit.
Yeah.
I seem to recall it had some stuff on the phone, which was like, oh yes, you can, by using this cheat on your phone, you can summon in vehicles, but there's nothing really particularly terribly fancy, and it just didn't quite have the simple elegance of the button combination of San Andreas, because it was like, just hammer the buttons, and boom, the jetpack appears on your back, and you fly off into the stratosphere, leaving behind whatever carnage you had just wrought. Whereas on GTA 4, it's like, oh, I'm in trouble. Wait, let me just get out my phone, scroll down to cheats, find the relevant cheat, enter the button. Okay, and now a car has appeared on the road. Okay, let's go. It's like, that's not quite as elegant. It really just wasn't. And then I'm pretty sure GTA 5 doesn't have cheats. Pretty sure.
No, what happened to cheats as a thing for all video games?
Because they'd rather sell you it as DLC now. Seriously, that's the thing.
I haven't even seen cheats in DLC for many years.
It's more sort of selling you shortcuts and things. Like, oh, you want more power? Here for $3 you can have an extra gun, which is better than the other guns and stuff. It's not. There's nothing really crazy overpowered. It's not like giving you flight and god mode kind of cheats, but. Yeah, I think a lot of it has kind of been steered into that direction of how can we further monetize things, rather than just here's something fun for you to do, and it's how can we get a few extra dollars out of the player? It is a shame. I mean,
all the cheat codes gone.
You get on that smash hit, yes. You can add that to your repertoire alongside all the movies.
Well, the cheat code album.
Yes, the cheat code album. You can do it as a charity fundraiser to bring back the cheat codes.
We could do a telethon.
We could get Bono involved, and we can do Cheat Aid.
That sounds like an energy drink.
Oh, gamer fuel kind of thing, right? With a different cheat code on the side of the bottle.
That's a moneymaker.
That's how you monetize a game.
Oh yeah.
Although the problem with that is somebody would just buy half a dozen bottles, post all the cheat codes on the internet, and suddenly nobody's buying any more drinks, but there you go.
I'm really looking forward to Coke of Duty now.
Oh dear. Nice. Mountain Dew and Doritos, that's what gaming's all about, right?
Yep.
You want to play some Halo and eat some Doritos? and get those Halo-themed Mountain Dews.
I've never tried Mountain Dew. Is it any good?
It's neon green. I don't think it is. I think it has trace amounts of uranium in it.
So it's popular in Russia.
Yes. Now, I have tried it once, and it's another drink. It's just more lurid than most other ones. Whether that makes it better or worse, I'm not entirely sure. If one wants to judge a product on its colour, I don't know. I don't feel like drinks should be quite that neon, though.
It is a tad of a worry.
I mean, it's not quite the stage where it's emitting its own light source, but it looks like it could do. I don't know. It's an American thing. They like drinks that light up by their own power. Bioluminescent drinks.
The world.
Anyway, back to games. Cheat codes. I don't know. It's just not. It's not a thing. It's a sign of the times. Times are changing and all that, I guess.
I like having all weapons and infinite ammo.
Everyone does.
Yeah, it was a major part of San Andreas, at least for our experience, just because it was just a big sandbox to dick about in, and dicking about involved being able to summon a jetpack at will, as well as having all of the weapons in existence. And being able to turn the police on and off as you so desired. And then there were a lot of other very strange things which involved, like, turning every single person in the game into, like, I don't know, were they like clowns or something, I think? I'm not sure. There were a lot of very strange things like that.
I don't remember this one, no.
I probably wasn't clowns, but there were certain ones which was like, change every single pedestrian into a blank. Insert type of person here.
A meerkat?
Yes, meerkats, obviously. It was actually a paid promotion by Compare the Meerkat.
Simples.
Indeed. We are promoting so many fucking brands on this show now. We really need to get some sponsorship from one of these guys.
Just blanket coverage. Please
Buy
sponsor
all
us,
the things.
everyone.
Yeah. Buy everybody's things. Well, I won't say no. If somebody wants to pay us to talk about their things instead of us just talking about it for free, then that works for me. Because it's what we do already, apparently.
Have they not seen my segue skills?
Yes, you could deftly and dexterously weave in some segments about how Mountain Dew is our Lord and Saviour.
Oh, I'm so thirsty.
How thirsty are you, Michael?
My thirst needs quenching with something. Why, what's that in your hand, John?
It's actually Meroka Cola. That is a thing we've got going on the Minecraft server I play on, actually.
Meroka Cola. That sounds like a certain YouTube channel that I may have come across at some point. But the name escapes me. John, could you help me out with this?
I think you may have seen that particular brand on youtube.com/buttonmashempire, which would be my channel.
Oh wow, what a coincidence.
And if you had been watching my Minecraft videos, you would have seen that Meroka Cola is a thing on the Minecraft server.
I plug them every week. I have no moral obligation to watch.
You're not even paid for that one.
Yep. Freebies.
Freebies, indeed. Right. So yes, now that one's out of the way. That one took you a lot longer than usual. You're slipping, by the way.
I was distracted by the talk of weather and tea. I apologise.
It's a compelling conversation, I know.
So what have you played this week, John?
What have I played? Oh, good lord. I played things. Many things.
Do you want to give me specifics? Or
I can do.
do you just want to keep it vague?
I'll just keep it vague. I played a lot of things.
Well,
No,
you.
No, I've been playing much more Rush Fusion, which is the game I'm currently beta testing, so, I don't know, full disclosure there, I guess. I don't know. Is that more sickening nepotism in the video games journalism industry?
You are what we're fighting against, damn it.
I am the enemy, I know, right? So, yes, I am part of the closed beta test for Rush Fusion, and I am doing so in exchange for a copy of the game, and maybe the ability to design an item within the game, if the developers are feeling nice and feel like I've been useful to them.
Oh wow, that's quite cool.
It's quite cool, but I have a feeling I may not be contributing that much. I think they're probably just going to be like, okay, well, here's a copy of the game. Thank you for your help. They kind of, I mentioned last week, they kind of got a tiered thing. It's like, oh, if you help a little bit, we'll put you in the credits. If you help a fair bit, we'll give you a copy of the game at launch. And if you help loads and loads and loads and make yourself an invaluable part of the team and the community, you can actually get involved and design something as well. That is what I would like to go for. That would be really cool, but all I can do is keep playing the damn game, and so I shall, and I've been doing a lot of that. They have implemented a progression system to it, so last week it was kind of like all the ships were unlocked. This week they've locked all the ships, and you start out with the basic one, and you now have to go jump through a bunch of hoops to unlock everything. Oh. It's not well fleshed out at the minute, but it's there. There's just one ship I can't actually get.
This the elusive ghost ship.
It's the Bat, I think, is the one I'm missing, which is kind of a railgun firing ship, and its shield only recharges when you're not firing the gun. It's kind of a weird one to fly. I'm not sure how I unlock it. I think you have to defeat one of the epic bosses with the Digit, which is kind of the charging up laser ship. And I have not been able to do that. I got to one of the bosses, but it killed me. So, yeah. That ship kind of feels underpowered at the minute to me. I think that one might need some balance, or maybe I'm just really shit with it. Could be either. But yeah, you need to defeat a boss with that, and I have not done that. Judging by the scoreboards, given that I'm awful with it, and I hold the high score with that ship, I'm not actually sure anybody else has done it either, mind you.
Hey.
So that's the thing. Yeah, I would like to have all the ships unlocked, but I'm really struggling with that one. I can't get through that. It's really annoying.
Right, well, that's your challenge for next week. To unlock that ship, and mine's to get the mic working.
Yes, yeah. Although they will have probably put out like another 2 new builds of the game, because that's their objective at the minute. They're trying to do 2 builds a week, so by then they might have just reset all the progress anyway, or changed the goalpost and said, hey, you can unlock it a different way. Because I think they are planning to add multiple ways to unlock the ships, but at the minute it's just kind of, you have to kill this giant boss that's really difficult because your ship is really squishy. It's a really
squishy ship.
It's a really squishy ship. Yeah, it's got the charging up. It either fires a lot of really low powered lasers really fast, or it charges up and does a really crazy super powerful laser. But you have to charge it up, and when you use that laser, it depletes energy from your shields in order to fire the laser. So if you fire that too often, you just end up with no shield, and it doesn't work out too well. Yeah. So it's still a fun game though, and I'm playing loads and loads of it, and that's going to be out. That will probably be in our game releases for next week, so it's coming out soon, very soon.
Soon.
And you can keep an eye out for, I will probably be in the credits at the very least, which would be cool. I've noticed someone on our show notes has highlighted the phrase bras and balls, so I suspect someone wants me to talk about that one.
I was just Googling shit.
Sure you were.
I'm sure that brought up a lot of useful results for you.
Totally.
Yes, I played a game called Bras and Balls, which is not what it sounds like, as I'm sure Will is just finding out.
Severely disappointed.
I suspect if you Google it, you might get some other things.
It's come up with an Android app.
Yes, I think it is on Android, possibly iOS. I found it on itch.io, which is where I've been finding lots of weird indie things lately. I've started a new series recently on my channel. I probably mentioned this last week, which is... I might not have had a name for it then, but I have a name for it now, which is Indie Insight, which is kind of the format I did for the advent of indie stuff, which is 15-minute blind first impressions of cheap or free, ideally free, things that are interesting looking. And I have found some interesting looking things. Bras and Balls was probably not the most interesting thing I found. It's basically a mermaid bra simulator. Probably the world's only mermaid bra simulator.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah. So this is a mermaid who's a high-class fashion designer and needs to go to a ball that she's been invited to and wants the fanciest, finest, most fashionable bra to go in, because that's pretty much all mermaids wear, so it's pretty much the only item of clothing she needs to pick out for it, and you need to help design it.
Isn't this a Disney film?
What, designing bras?
Little Mermaid 17.
Is that another sequel?
This is a sequel to a sequel to a
The
terrible
Little
sequel.
Mermaid, the Little Mermaid straight to DVD sequel, in which the Little Mermaid spends 90 minutes going through her wardrobe picking out bras,
Yep.
and they all sing Under the Sea while she's doing it, on loop for 90 minutes.
And Sebastian the Crab gets arrested for sexual assault later.
The theme of the movie has slightly deviated from the original, I'll grant you, but that tends to happen after over 17 movies.
Yeah.
Just ask The Land Before Time.
Oh god, what are we on with Landed?
I don't know, but that's one that's worth Googling.
Must be at least 5, at least.
Whoa,
There's
no,
more than
they're
5.
into double digits.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god.
I'm sure I've seen Land Before Time series on Wikipedia. Yes, please.
Hang on, shall we take a quick bet on...
Oh, we
how
take
many
it.
it is?
Oh, right. Okay. I'm sure there's at least 14. I think I've seen 14, so I'm going to say they've probably gone on a bit further. I'll say 15.
Oh my god, I'm completely out of my depth. I thought there were only 5.
I'm going to go with 20. I think they've made 20.
You make 20. Okay, not unreasonable. I don't think.
I'm remaining hopeful.
You're going to stick with 5.
I'm going to stick with 5,
Okay.
just because I don't want to acknowledge anything else.
Okay. The Land Before Time was November 18th, 1988.
So,
Yeah.
the year we were born.
Land Before Time, The Great Valley... Speak for yourself.
Yeah,
The Great Valley
87.
Adventure. Yeah.
I'm young!
Land Before Time 2, The Great Valley Adventure, 1994. Land Before Time 3, The Time of Great Giving, December 1995. Land Before Time 4, Journey Through the Mists, December 1996. Land Before Time 5, The Mysterious Island, December 1997. Land Before Time 6, The Secret of Saurus Rock, December 1998. Land Before Time 7, The Stone of Cold Fire, 2000.
Wow.
Land Before Time 8, The Big Freeze, 2001. The Land Before Time 9, Journey to Big Water, 2002. The Land Before Time 10, The Great Long Neck Migration, 2003.
What a great name.
The Land Before Time 11, Invasion of the Tiny Sauruses.
I want to watch that now.
2005. The Land Before Time 12, The Great Day of the Flyers, 2006. The Land Before Time 13, The Wisdom of Friends, 2007. And that's your lot.
Only 13.
13. There were 13.
Oh, you win then, John.
Yeah, you were the closest.
There are also 2 albums. The Land Before Time sing-along songs from The Land Before Time 2, 3, and 4, and The Land Before Time more sing-along songs from The Land Before Time 5 and 6. There is also a 26-episode TV series.
I don't remember a TV series.
Yeah, well, there's a theme tune for you to learn.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a hell of a one.
Oh, dear.
I want to see that.
Childhood despairs.
I'm trying to imagine Attack of the Tiny Sauruses. That sounds amazing.
I'm sure it isn't. I'm quite sure it isn't. So there you go.
Where were we before we got onto this?
Little Mermaid, Bras and
Okay.
Balls.
Okay, right. Back to video games.
Yes. So yes, the Bras and Balls is pretty simplistic. It gives you an option to pick through a variety of marine life for your left cup, and a variety of marine life for your right cup, and an entirely different variety of marine life for the strap. And then you pick those 3 out. It will ask you a bit of marine trivia on the creatures that you have picked out, and in order to be able to use that as a bra component, you must answer that trivia correctly.
So basically, you're snapping off Sebastian's claws for like bra hooks.
Basically, well, no, there is the lobster. I think makes a cup.
Oh, no, that's the
Yeah, and then once you have successfully crafted a bra, you go to the ball, and the ball guests give you some feedback on how fancy they think your bra was, and you get some badges depending on what you did. And there really does only seem to be positive and negative feedback. It's just like, yeah, you made a good bra, or boo, you made a bad bra. You learn some things about marine life along the way, so that's all I can say for it. It's mildly educational.
Are you up on your marine life?
I was not terribly. A lot of it can be guessed reasonably comfortably, fairly, though, so...
Give us a marine life fact.
Oh, Christ, I don't remember any.
The game has clearly failed.
Yeah, it did. I can vaguely remember some stuff, but I can't remember now. How many pieces of food per day does a baby seahorse eat?
I don't know. Please enlighten me.
Is it 3,000, 10,000, or 30,000 pieces of food per day?
Pieces of food.
Pieces of food.
That's a unit.
That is a unit. Yes, one piece of food.
Can I call a friend?
Is your friend Google?
Murder. I'm guessing. I'm going to go with B.
10,000.
Yeah.
Will?
A.
3,000. Will is correct.
Woo! I win a cup.
You win a cup.
You win a lobster bra cup.
You win a... Well, that would be a seahorse cup because it was seahorse trivia. So you're allowed to use a seahorse cup for that one.
I'll wear it with pride.
It doesn't seem like it would cover much.
It's like design flaw.
Yeah. Some of the others, there's like a turtle, and it's like, yeah, okay, a turtle could kind of work, I suppose. And then the seahorse is like, that just doesn't seem like that would give much support. I don't know. Maybe
Twitch
I
is going to have to rethink their rules on pasties now.
No seahorses. No seahorses allowed.
I can just see some Italian designer just sticking goldfish together going, it doesn't work.
The Button Mash podcast and Bras and Balls do not condone the use of sea life in the construction of bras. Please refrain from doing so.
We don't want Peter after us.
Yes, it's mistreatment of animals. Although it does seem like the things are fairly happy with being used in such a fashion, because it does inform you that if you choose to use the eel as a strap for your bra, the eel will give you a pep talk before you go to the ball. The eel is also called Chad.
Oh, wait a minute. The sea animal's still alive.
Apparently, yes.
Help me!
They seem reasonably okay with the state of affairs.
So, Sebastian the crab's having the time of his life.
Mm-hmm. Being attached to breasts.
Yeah.
Something else I did find whilst doing Indian Sight that was genuinely actually really, really compelling, actually pretty damn good. It was Roguelite by Daniel Linson, which is just like a $1 suggested donation kind of thing, but I've been going back, I've been playing a lot of that since I did that video. I just did the 15-minute video, I was like, oh, this is pretty good. But then, a couple days later, I was like, you know what, I could really go back and play some more of that. I really want to play that now. And then I just sat and played it for 2 hours straight, and still didn't finish it. And then a couple days later...
It looks gorgeous, by the way.
It's quite nice. It's a very, very limited colour palette. It's just kind of 4 colours, pixel art, but it works. It's a bit of a play on words with the title. It is a roguelite. It's kind of a roguelike with some mild progression mechanics, and it's also themed around light. You have a flaming bow, and you have to use that to light lanterns and shine your way through the darkness and make your way through caves and kill flying skeletons and some ghosty things, and try and make your way down into the depths and kill the boss. I have not done so. The game is not too bad once you've got a bunch of upgrades. Once you've actually got upgrades, there's one, the Will of the Wisp, kind of makes everything really, really easy for actually getting around, because it's basically just a light that follows you around. So at that point, it's like, oh, now it's suddenly not too hard to get around. Normally, before you get that is supposed to be like one of the last upgrades you get as well. I got it sort of mid-game because I got a load of money once and I was like, well, might as well buy the ultimate upgrade now. Because there's no real limit on which orders you have to buy things in, so I bought that really early on. And then that kind of made the rest of the game a little bit easy, unfortunately. Which is maybe a shame, but I don't know. Either way, yeah, at that point I kind of managed to make it down to the boss, and the boss is just a bigger flying skeleton that chases you down and cannot be killed with mere mortal arrows. And I think it's the same dungeon each time, and you have to go, and there's the same flying skeleton things and the same ghost things and spike traps everywhere, and you still have the same limited resources. You still have to manage your arrows because you have a limited number of those, and normally you're trying to, if it's dark and you don't have a will-o'-the-wisp, normally you're really conserving them to try and make it as far as you can with limited resources. But in this, I know you're kind of running and gunning and shooting everything and trying to use it. And then there are 4 large lanterns throughout the level, and you need to light all 4 of those in order to kill the boss. I have not done that yet because it's just the pressure of having the giant flying skeleton chasing you through the level. You kind of have to move really, really fast just to not get killed by it, and ultimately I end up running into enemies and stepping on traps and getting myself killed running away from the bloody thing. So
well, I can imagine life would be quite difficult. Say if you were like trying to order a coffee in some place and then a flying skeleton came towards you, you'd lose your train of thought.
Yeah, it kind of it does put a bit of pressure on you to make things happen quickly. Admittedly, most coffee houses don't tend to have too many spikes on the floor, but so that's where the analogy maybe falls down a little bit, but hey. There's always the risk of getting boiling hot coffee on you, I suppose. It's an inherent risk of buying coffee from a coffee house. I was nearly going to mention another brand there, but then for God's sake, as if we haven't promoted enough of them. So, if you're from Generic Coffee House. So yes, roguelites, I would recommend checking that one out. That's kind of a cute game. Not too hard until you get to the final boss, and it's goddamn brutal. That's what that's got going for it. The other one, what else have I played? I played Riff Raft, which is by the same guy who did Retro Game Crunch, or at least one of the same guys that did Retro Game Crunch. It's not that great. It's you play like a Boy Scout who has to navigate a raft down the river while collecting crates of beer from the river, dodging rocks in the river so your raft doesn't crash and break. And then there's a bunch of other Boy Scouts in like Davy Crockett hats shooting flaming arrows at your raft. And if they hit your raft too many times, it will burn and be destroyed. So you have to put out the fire by peeing on it. And you can throw the bottles of beer at the other Boy Scouts to knock them off the riverbank. There's not much to it. And it doesn't play well on a keyboard and mouse, and it's a bit unwieldy on a gamepad. I didn't much rate that, unfortunately. I did play a really, really, really cute one today, though, that's going out tomorrow, which will be yesterday when this video goes out on the internet, which is Owls Ever After, which is really cute and cool. It's kind of a non-linear narrative kind of thing. Basically, you have kind of a sort of time manipulation thing. It's a family of owls throughout the years, and you get a...
I'm sorry, repeat that.
a family of owls. They're a family of a mummy owl and a daddy owl and their daughter owl living underground in their burrow. Is that where owls live? Do they live in burrows?
They live in trees, don't they?
And yeah, it's a snapshot of their family on... The game says it's New Year's Eve every year, but there's a very heavy Christmas theme going on, so I don't know. It seems like it's more like it's Christmas Eve than New Year's Eve, but the game description does say New Year's Eve.
Well, you leave the Christmas decorations up, don't you? So.
Yeah, all the Christmas decorations are up, but of course they're still up. Most people probably still would have those up at New Year's Eve, but there's a lot of stuff like opening presents and things as well, so normally they'd probably be long done by the time New Year's Eve rolls around. So yeah, it's kind of a Christmas theme thing, and you get to see the family on Christmas Eve and the story unfold and how the family progresses, and you only get to... It's kind of starts at the beginning, which is present day. The daughter... I kind of... It's almost mild spoilers, I suppose, but it's the daughter, fully grown, looking back in life at her growing up with the family and things. and you can move the slider back and forth at the bottom of the screen to move through different snapshots of the different years, and most of them are blacked out, and you can't see what's going on. You can only see little bits of the picture. And by turning on the Christmas lights that run across the top of the screen, you have a limited number of resources. You have like 7 different colours, and by turning out the colours on your UI, you can light the lights on the screen. And that will unveil part of the scene. Within the scene, that is obviously part of your memory, and your memory is a little bit fuzzy on it, and by clicking on a bit of the scene, it'll correct it to the correct memory, and by unveiling the truth, you get your resources back, so you have more lights to light up other bits of other scenes. And just slowly but surely, you just sort of unveil different bits of the story. It's kind of like a narrative jigsaw puzzle, as it were, I suppose. And you just unveil bits of different scenes throughout the years and piece together the story bit by bit by bit over the course of it. It's about half an hour to play in its entirety, and you just sort of see the entire story come together slowly in a very, very non-linear fashion. And then once it's all done, all put together, and you've discovered the truth about all the scenes and how they actually played out compared to how they remember it playing out, you can just kind of scroll through it and read the entire story. And it's just very, very cute. I like it. Yeah, it's quite a compelling one.
Yeah, them owls. They're interesting lives.
They're adorable, and it was just a nice story. Nah, I don't care if you don't like it. I like it.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I'm just still coming to terms with the concept of owls living in burrows.
Well, why would they not?
Because
and they celebrate. I was going to say, I feel like the owl celebrating Christmas is probably more of a bigger deal, and being able to talk is perhaps a bigger concern than the living in the burrows bit. I can deal with the burrows bit.
You've never seen Winnie the Pooh.
And instead of going out and getting a Christmas turkey or whatever, they go and get a rabbit each year. Obviously. Except for the one year when they go out and they catch a weird rabbit and it turns out to be a cat, and then from then on, as you go through the years, they just have a pet cat in the corner of the room each time, or lying on a shelf or something. Which is quite cute. It's just the attention to detail like that. It's like in one year, like they've got a TV, and then a few years down the line, they've suddenly upgraded to a bigger TV, and because the bigger TV takes up more space on the shelf, they've had to remove previously there was a portrait of the family next to them, so they've moved that and put that somewhere else in the house. And it's just that slow progression, seeing it change over time. There's a lot of attention to detail in little things like that, and it's just very nice. I like it. Other things I liked, I've started playing for my channel 80 Days, which I've been threatening to do for a while now. I sat down and I played 2 hours straight of that on Thursday. God damn. I'm not going to do that again.
You're still liking it?
I love it. My voice can't take sitting and reading, just reading text off the screen for 2 hours straight. By the end of it, I was just kind of getting a bit hoarse, as it were. So yeah, it was a great game. The fact is, I thought I would be done in about 2 hours. I was thinking, it'll take about 2 hours. I'll probably be able to play through the entire game in that. By that point, I've just made it to Japan after 2 hours. Spoiler alert for anybody who wants to watch that. But yeah.
How are you finding Japan?
Well, I suspect we won't be there long. We're trying to go around the world in 80 days. You don't really have too much time to soak in the sights, really.
Let's take a day off.
I already took 4 days off in Vladivostok when they locked me up. Again, spoiler alert. I'm giving a lot of spoilers about my route around the world here, I suppose, but yeah. It was going all right until Vladivostok. I was like, I'm pretty much ahead of time. I'm making good time, and then they just lock you up for like no reason. It was like, oh god damn it! How am I supposed to do it now? What the hell? So it's interesting. It's fun. I'm enjoying reading it.
I suspect that's a mechanic just to make the game last, so you're not, getting too far ahead of yourself.
Maybe.
Oh no, he's ahead of schedule. Put him in jail.
I don't think so, because I think I stumbled into exactly the same trap the first time I played through it on my phone, and I was not ahead of schedule then. I was sucking pretty badly, and I ended up in Vladivostok, and they were like, hey, you, where are your papers? Oh, you shouldn't be here, go in jail. And 4 days later, they let you out. It's like, oh, for God's sake, you bastards. I think the sensible thing is, don't go through Vladivostok. If you're playing that game, don't go somewhere else. Go another route. That route just ends up with you delayed for some fucking reason.
Just because the immigration service at Valagoskos is superior to us, don't insult them.
They're petty-minded bureaucrats, god damn it. A game I've been sent a review copy of that I played a little of. I don't know when they're planning to release it. I think soon, but they haven't given me much information on the game. I then emailed them back and said, hey, can you give me some information on the game? And they haven't got back to me yet. So I can't tell you much about it other than what I played. I don't know much about the team or how they're planning to launch it or when they're planning to launch it or how much it's going to cost or anything. All I know is it's going to be released at some point in the future on Steam. It's called Isbara, which is a weird bullet hell platformer thing. Which is, they've kind of just taken the boss fights of a bullet hell shooter, and you have to play a goddess who has to fight him with giant rail guns. It's a bit weird, but kind of cool. So the bosses all have kind of their patterns and strategies as one would in a bullet hell shooter kind of thing, and you pretty much, your only ability pretty much to combat it with is like a dash move, and you have to dash through a railgun. The railgun will then activate, and you have to stay near it to charge it up. Then it fires at the boss. You have to do that 3 times to take its shield down. Then it goes to another phase, and then you kind of have to, the boss starts charging up a magic spell, and you have to stay within a big circle on the screen to interrupt it, and you have to stay in that circle for long enough. All the while they're shooting ridiculous shit at you because bullet hell shooter. And eventually, if you stay in the circle long enough, you stun the boss and you get to actually attack it and deal some damage to its health. And yeah, that's it. Rather rinse and repeat. It's got a few phases to get through to defeat it entirely. Just kind of cool. It's not localized terribly well. The English translation needs some work. I think the team is French, I think, maybe? I'm not sure. I played something French recently. I think that might have been it. The fact is, with a lot of game dev teams, there's a lot from all over the world, and forgive me if that's wrong. I think this one was made by a French team. So they're kind of, the English translation only has 5 levels, and the translation's not amazing. It's got a very cool comic book style going on with it, which I'm kind of liking. It looks great, and it plays really well. I'm quite liking it. I don't know how much depth there is to it, other than just trying to get higher scores on each of the levels. Just kind of like, here, do it better. Try and do it without getting hit. At the minute, those 5 levels didn't take me terribly long to get through, and that's all there was, so. But what I see, I like. That's something kind of cool.
I may keep an eye out for that one, because I've been looking for a decent bullet hell for a long time.
As I say, it's not quite your standard shooter fare. It's kind of with a twist. So you've got the ability to summon like a barrier, which you can use as a platform to stand on, or you can use it to block bullets coming at you. So you can use those as a thing as well. And you've kind of got, you also do have a slow motion thing, which, as is always the way, I always forget to use. I think it would be useful for getting out of sticky situations on a few occasions, but I know just like, in the heat of battle, I don't remember to hit the slow motion button.
Well, people in battle don't go, you know what, it's time I ran like Hasselhoff.
What?
Baywatch. Running down the beach, slow motion.
Okay, right, sure. Because obviously yes, Hasselhoff was obviously the poster boy for bullet time.
Of course he was.
Basically, yes, David Hasselhoff was the entire inspiration for the movie The Matrix.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying here.
How would anyone miss that obvious connection?
I know. Yeah, no, it's bullet time is what it is, and I just don't use it. So, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not David Hasselhoff for you today.
Don't you remember that scene in The Matrix where it was, I'll be ready, while he was avoiding the bullets?
Yes. No, wait, no.
What? Go watch Baywatch. Go watch it again, damn it.
Go watch Baywatch meets The Matrix crossover spin-off film.
Which should be made if nobody's on that.
Also finished Far Cry 4. Oh, were you saying something? Sorry. What did you say?
I have nothing to do with video gaming. Carry on with yours.
He never does, but no.
I just like to feel included.
Fair enough. Also finished Far Cry 4 this week. We finished playing through that with my mate on his... It's not a console, it's his PC that he plays like a console, but there you go. That's slightly lackluster at the end. I don't know, it kind of seemed to wrap things up really, really quickly, but that may have just been him wanting to burn through so many of the story missions so fast. I was kind of like, I'm all for dicking about and doing the side missions and going and finding cool things and exploring and having adventures and just killing shit and just generally having a good time in this really big, cool sandbox. And he was like, yes, let's do all the story missions. There's a story mission, let's do that. There's a story mission. And before you know, it's like, game's over, and like, great, I hope you're happy with yourself. You have just burned through what could have been a game that would have lasted us for months in a few days. Good. All I mainly took away from it is Pagan Min, the bad guy, would make a really cool cosplay. I don't know if are you guys even remotely familiar with anyone in anything to do with Far Cry?
No.
Nope.
No. Okay, Pagan Min is a really, really excessively flamboyant and over-the-top and quite cool character. He is the bad guy, but I think most people sort of actually are very sympathetic to him just because he's such a cool character. He's just really, really over the top. I mean, the first... He's very much a dictator and a complete dickhead, and he tortures people, and he makes people's lives a living hell. But at the same time, he's just so lovable. He's a lovable rogue, is what he is. So when it comes to the end, you kind of... okay, I can't really spoil things, but... I don't know. I don't want him to die, man. But he is the bad guy, and he must be overthrown, and stuff. I think there are multiple endings, and I don't know... I think I'm just going to have to go onto YouTube. There's no way to save and go back and do it again. It's not like, hey, I can just save before the last mission and go do it again. I think I'm going to have to go onto YouTube and look up the other endings, because I feel like there should be some other options at the end. There are kind of... The faction that you're fighting with has got like two wannabe leaders both arguing throughout the story, and you have to pick sides with them on occasions. And it sort of vaguely kind of determines the direction of the story, but it doesn't really do much as far as I can make out. And at the end, one of the things at the end is like, oh, you have to pick one of them to be the leader of the country. Whoever you pick will rule the country when you have overthrown Pagan Min. And I don't know, that never really goes anywhere. It's just like, once you've done it, it's like, okay, well, that's done.
Did you
Great.
Did you pick the right person?
There isn't a right and a wrong. It's just there's one. The woman wants to be kind of progressive and lead the country into a new era of prosperity through whatever means, and those means are mostly, it seems, turning the entire nation into a drug state. It seems to be the main gist of her drive. And the guy that wants to be is very traditional. He's like, oh, we've got a country with a rich tradition and past history, and we must uphold the traditions and the religions and the traditional ceremonies and things, and we must go back to our roots and celebrate the old ways. We've got a rich culture that we must celebrate. And the woman's like, fuck that, sell drugs, get rich. We ain't gonna be a third world country anymore. We need to move things on. He's like, no, the old ways are the right ways. So there's no right and wrong per se, because the woman's strategy for making the country prosperous is still a pretty shitty one. And the guy's traditions, well, I don't know, depends how much store you hold in tradition, really. So... because there's no real right or wrong there, and whichever one you pick at the end, it just seems like they're like, okay, this person's in power now, congratulations, go kill Pagan Min now. It's like, okay. Do we get some kind of interesting resolution depending on who we picked? Nope, no you don't. So it's never really dealt with again.
So you want like a cutscene of maybe the woman ODing in a drug paradise, or your man weeping as he's being sacrificed to the pagan gods.
I don't think he's quite that brutal, but yes, it would be nice if there were like a couple of cutscenes at the end that said, this is what happened next. Because of your choices in the game, this is how the future of this country is going to play out, you know. Just something like that would be nice. Just some sort of conclusive ending, just something to make it feel like your choices actually did something, other than after you finish the mission where you pick sides, they go, congratulations, thanks for choosing me, this is wonderful, yay. Which is just kind of a bit meh. I don't know.
Anticlimactic.
It is a bit anticlimactic, yes.
Leave room for a Far Cry 5?
Oh, they're making a Far Cry 5. Look at the bloody gaming news we've got. They're already talking about making one. The fact is with the Far Cry franchise, I mean, I don't know, do you want to tie into the gaming news now? Should we do some cross-section stuff?
I will save it for later.
All right. Okay, fine.
I had the jingle ready, but it's back in the cage now.
All right. Yes. Well, that's that. That's me for now. Will, what have you been playing?
Well, I've been dicking around in Wolfenstein again, going through the alternative character that you get to choose to live early on in the game, and it's not really affecting so much, so I'm just kind of shooting Nazis for the fun of it, as you would.
Can't argue with that.
Can't argue with that logic. And that's really it for Wolfenstein. That's all it really is good for. So,
what
again,
is it good for? Killing some Nazis, say it again.
Think you're on to a winner with that one.
Yep. I have somebody. Silent.
Awkward.
So I guess I'm doing the same really with Walking Dead. About halfway through my second attempt at not sucking at this game.
Oh right, yeah, you ended it in a bad place, didn't you, and wanted to redo it, right?
With a severed arm, bleeding out, becoming a zombie.
How are you doing this time round?
Better with, 2020 hindsight.
Is this the entirety of season 1, or is it just like episode 1?
The entirety.
All right.
I didn't suck that badly that at the end of episode 1 I ended up missing an arm.
Well, I don't know how it plays out. I was just kind of wondering. So what do they start out with? Waking Dead Series 2. Thanks for buying the series. By the way, you're bleeding out. Oh, you're dead. Sorry. Well, game over. Oh, better luck next time.
I assume that my character just didn't survive, and they'll have a kind of standby character that will take over.
Okay.
But we'll see. I don't know. Maybe my character is just fated to die at the end, whatever, and they've got a new character take over in season 2 anyway.
Alrighty.
Maybe he'll come back in flashbacks.
Maybe. He's leaving behind a small girl that he's been looking after for the entire venture. So I suspect in season 2 you'll get to see what happens to her as she's kind of growing up in this post-apocalyptic zombie world.
You're just there with your severed arm, zombie going, she's doing so well.
I'm so proud.
Give me a hug. Oh.
So yeah, it's going much better now that I know which characters to trust and which characters are quite clearly going to stab me in the back later. But
Right.
I suspect it's going to throw me a few curveballs here and there, and I'll probably end up making a bad decision anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm fated to do so.
What would you feel if you lost your other arm, opposed to the one that you lost the first time round?
Well, I lost my left arm the first time, so that, not so bad in terms of missing arms.
Unless you're left-handed.
Unless I'm, well, clearly.
Sorry, yeah.
So, yes, I'd rather lose my left arm if given the choice. But I was given the choice to not lose it at all. So, I can't remember why I chose to cut it off.
Wait, what? The game just had an option. It's like,
yeah,
by the way, would you like to cut off your arm? And you're like, yeah, that sounds like a pretty good idea. Let's do that.
It'll make me faster.
More streamline. So, basically, little bit of a spoiler. Somewhere, I think, in Chapter 5, I'm looking for the little girl. She's called Clementine. And I'm rummaging around next to a dumpster, and all of a sudden a zombie leaps up and scratches my arm, and I think I've been bitten. You don't really know if you've been bitten or not. You just think you've been bitten because you got a scratch. So I think I thought I took the safe option in just cutting it off. That way, if I'm infected, I'll get to live a little bit longer. That was the logic.
Okay.
However, this time I'm going to choose not to cut it off, so that you can see maybe I can live this time. Maybe it was just a superficial scratch.
Or you're going to become a zombie.
Yeah, maybe I'm just fated to die in this. I don't know if that's just the ultimate outcome.
So what happened? Like, you were given the option to cut your arm off, and you're like, yes, I'll do that. And you're like, oh shit, now what? I've got blood's going everywhere, and oh crap, what do I do now? Is that what happened?
Mr. Zombie.
I didn't think this through beyond cutting my arm off. What do I do once I've got no arm?
Yeah, it did influence the story after that, obviously, because you can't do certain things without an arm.
Right.
And that immediately made my character like the high risk factor, so I had to then do all the dangerous shit for all the other people in the group so that I could kind of gain back their trust a little bit.
Right.
I don't know.
It seems like the person missing limbs would be less capable of doing dangerous shit than someone who had 2 limbs. Or, 4 limbs, 2 arms.
Yeah, it was it was very evident, but it's a story, it's not real life.
We need someone to guard the gate. One-armed Joe, go.
It's mostly climbing up shit, which is counterintuitive for a man with 1 arm, but
Now, if you can attach this rope to the ceiling.
If you could put up these shelves, that would be really great.
We need you to install a chandelier.
Oh dear.
Yeah, my main problem with the game is still that it's just the movement going from A to B is so slow. It really puts me off playing it.
Mm.
But,
is that done for a reason, or?
Don't know. It makes the game last a little bit longer, but
Is that it?
yeah.
So they can advertise on the box. Yes, it's got 15 hours of content. 10 of those are spent walking.
Yep. Really, really slowly.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, I won't die this time. Then after that, whatever the conclusion is, I'm gonna go through season 2 because I'm not playing this game again.
Right.
I suspect it's got two really good kind of alternate endings, and then after that, it's just nitpicking, really.
Okay. Cool.
Cool. Well, last but not least is Planetary Annihilation.
Aha. Okay.
We talked about human resources ages ago, and I really, really liked it. And I look back at Uber Entertainment's other games, and I'm liking Planetary Annihilation so far. It's a little bit. It's not your standard RTS, is it?
I backed this game on Kickstarter. I was like one of the beta backers, and I spent a good chunk of money, more than the asking price for the game, in order to get early access to it, and I haven't played it, so you probably know a lot more about it than I do. I know it's not the standard, but everything I've heard about it is it's really difficult to get into, and the one time I did pick it up and try it was like pretty confusing as well for me, so... It
is. I played less than an hour of it, but I can tell I'm going to enjoy it. I do like RTSs. Even though neither of you two do, I'm still.
I don't mind RTS. I'm just fucking awful at them. Really, really disastrously bad.
I suspect I won't fare amazingly well with this one because it is so complicated.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we should have a game or something so it's like a friendly match rather than against whatever insane 300 APM Koreans are on the internet.
Yeah. I'm never playing this game online. Jesus Christ.
them Koreans.
My mortal enemies.
There are a lot of people's mortal enemies at the moment.
So yeah, it's RTS on a spherical map, which pretty much all RTS has never done before. That's a new thing, and I'm mostly going on hearsay from what I've heard other people say about it, so I don't really know any of this firsthand. But I guess normally you'd be like, oh, I know my enemy is to the east of me, so I will build a wall there, and they will not be able to get through that. And then you can just go round the other side of the planet and attack them, and they'll be like, oh shit, where did you come from? Round the other side of the planet.
And then it's between solar systems as well.
And then you can build on other planets as well, just to add even more layers. There are other maps. So you can just build another army on another planet and then bring that over. And you'll be like, someone will be sat there building and be like, oh, he doesn't have much stuff. It's okay. I've sent some scouts in. I can see over there. He's not got much going on in that base. I don't think he's a threat. And then you'll come in from space from another planet. And it's like, oh, surprise. I just had an entire army on the moon.
Oh, you can tell I hate myself.
and then
For playing games like this, I'm bound to lose.
well, I don't know. You can't be worse than me. I don't know. I don't know why I backed it on Kickstarter. It's clearly not the sort of thing I was going to play, but I do like Uber Entertainment, and I just kind of wanted to support them. I think mostly because they obviously made Monday Night Combat, and I'm a big fan of that. So yeah.
I think
Kickstart.
even having played Planetary Annihilation for even just a short period, it made me really think about what human resources could have been like, and I despair slightly.
Right. Well, these are the guys. I think a lot of the team at Uber Entertainment were the guys who made. A lot of them worked on Total Annihilation, and I think there's possibly some Supreme Commander stuff in there as well. So there's a lot of people who come from very good RTS development backgrounds, so they certainly know their shit. They were
It's very evident.
very capable of it. Yeah. So yes, I'm sure any other RTS they make would be good, but I just want them to make another MOBA because they made great MOBAs.
It ain't happening, John.
They made 2, and they were both amazing, and then nobody played either of them, and you're all bastards for not doing that. Not you personally, just everybody in the world.
The views of the Bottom Mash host, that's all it is.
Yes, you're all bastards. Every one of the 7 million of you for not playing Super Monday Night... 7 billion of you for not playing Super Monday Night Combat when it launched. Unless you did, in which case you're a good person and I like you. Although that limits it to a few thousand tops out of the 7 billion, so it's still a minority.
And now is the time to promote our stuff.
I think... wait, what? We aren't at the end of the show yet, are we?
I know, but after you insulted everyone, that now feels like the natural time.
You all suck. Buy our shit.
You can follow us at Facebook.
Yeah. So yes, Planetary Annihilation. I really do need to give that another go at some point.
We should have a versus. I think after maybe we've had a few practice matches.
Something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Because another one of the silly strategies you probably would never see coming at all is you can like put rocket boosters onto the moon and then slam the moon into your enemy.
Oh my god! I didn't even know you could do that. That's ace.
Well, it's probably more asteroids than the moon, but still.
That would be annoying for the Nazis, though, when they're just on their base and suddenly there's rockets.
Just accidentally grab the Nazi base and slam it into Earth.
9!
Oh, Iron Sky. Have they been funded yet? I think they have now, actually, haven't they?
They got funded the other day. Successfully.
After several extensions to their Kickstarter.
Only one.
Really wanted that
Was it just the one? It seemed like it was a long Kickstarter to say they only had one extension.
Yeah, they got a 7-day extension on it.
I thought it was longer than that, but okay. Yeah, I presume they must have just pretty much scraped through then.
I think they raised about 40,000 extra.
Right. I mean, it feels like they've been promoting that for a very, very, very long time, and then for them to say, hey, they've given us even more time to hit our goal. Well, of course it's in their interest to give you more time, because they get the fucking money. Or at least they get 10%, whatever it is. 10%, I think, if they go with flexible funding, which they did.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. So that's 50,000. That's 50,000 straight in Indiegogo's pocket. So of course they want them to carry on.
Don't you get the funding anyway with Indiegogo, whether you've reached it or not?
Well, there are two that's what I was saying with the flexible funding. Indiegogo has 2 options when you set up a campaign, which is you can have a fixed funding campaign, which works exactly like Kickstarter, or you can have a flexible funding campaign, which means you get whatever the money is. Whatever money you raise, you get. But if you go with a flexible funding campaign, Indiegogo takes a bigger cut of it. They only take like a 5% cut if you go with a fixed funding campaign, and they take like a 10% cut if you go with the flexible funding, I think. So like I say, with a 500,000 campaign, they would take 50,000 of that as their cut. Whereas if they'd gone with the fixed funding in the first place, if they were that confident they were going to hit their target, well, Indiegogo would have only taken 25,000, I guess. But like with Kickstarter, if you're not going to hit your targets, then well, then you don't get any money.
So, yeah, acceptable risk.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of weird when it's so slow. I mean, the whole point of Kickstarter is we need this much money to make it happen, and then with Indiegogo, it's like, oh yes, we need 100,000 to get this, and it's we've only raised 10,000. Well, we'll take the 10,000 anyway. I was like, hang on, but you need 100,000 to make this happen, and you've got a good chunk of money from people, but you've got nowhere near enough to make your project. How the fuck does that work? That's sketchy as all hell. Because they're taking large swathes of money from people without actually having enough money to see a project through. Wait a second, that doesn't sound good. Yeah,
sketchy business deals. Yeah.
Yes, crowdfunding, everyone.
You've been warned.
You have been warned. You've been warned by us and everybody else on the internet many times about crowdfunding. And yet we continue to do it.
I was going to say,
how about that planetary annihilation?
You give money to internet companies.
By the way, if you want to invest in Button Mash, I have a Patreon campaign.
Really? What's the link for that?
Patreon.com/Button Mash.
That was my soul dying slightly.
So don't give money to people on the internet unless it's me. That's my advice for today.
Ding!
The more you know. Okay, so I think we're probably at about the halfway mark. Shall we take a brief break and come back with some gaming news and gossip and gaming releases after the break?
Sure, why not? We'll be back after this word from our sponsors.
I was wondering where that was going.
Sorry, you asked a question, so I answered it.
And then didn't go to sponsors. Okay, well, BRB, y'all.
What a Mash podcast is back.
That went on for a while.
I decided to make it longer by holding it on for a bit. See how it went.
Alright, welcome back to the Button Mash podcast. We have long notes.
Yep.
So we've got gaming news and a few gaming releases to do on the second half of the show here today.
And now, gaming news and gossip.
We've got, is this gossip? We ask this every week. Every week, the one question we need to ask, is this gossip? Not really, I don't think.
It's how most philosophy classes start.
Yes. Philosophy 101, is this gossip? So, the gossip for this week is Nintendo is halting console and software distribution in Brazil. Which is a fairly major decision, one would have said. Sort of selling things entirely in one country. It does seem like Brazil does not make it terribly easy to sell things from another country, to be honest. So, go on.
Oh, they're too busy exporting nuts and stuff.
I'm sure that's it. They're too busy exporting nuts to have any imports. Thanks. The views of the Button Mash horse.
Clearly politically incorrect.
Yes. So, Gaming do Brasil? I don't know how you pronounce it. I presume this is some Spanish. Gaming do Brasil, a wholly owned subsidiary of Juegos de Video Latino America, GmbH, which would suggest it's German. What? Will no longer distribute Nintendo products in Brazil. Mostly because they're too fucking expensive, I think.
Is that in the press release? Is that the wording?
That's not it, but it's basically I think that the gaming industry has a hard time selling in Brazil because there's ridiculous import tariffs and taxes and things. To get a sense of the price, the PlayStation 4. Obviously fairly familiar with the sticker price. In the US you'd be looking about $400, in the UK you're looking about £300, I guess, somewhere around that mark, is it not?
I think it's $350.
$350, yeah. In Brazil, in US figures, Mickey Mouse money as it were, looking at about $1,800.
Which is quite a lot of dollars.
That's quite a lot for a games console, yeah. That's a fair investment. You can buy a car for less than that. Though I would also wager if you were looking in the right place, you could probably get a car for less than 400 as well, but hey-ho. Not a very good one, but it'll be one. Go on, Will, you were saying something?
You could choose the superior PC platform to play your video games on.
Yes, assuming those haven't been imported with markups as well. It depends where they're coming from. I can't help but wonder if there would be massive markups on all them for import things. I mean, it's a matter of whether you can manufacture them in Brazil, and obviously, in this instance, Nintendo is not manufacturing in Brazil. That's the way you would avoid import fees and things. You would need to make it in Brazil so that you're not importing it. And in this case, Nintendo is not doing that. I have no idea whether any of your other sort of your MSIs and ASRock and EVGA type companies, I don't know whether they would be. Some of them might have Brazilian manufacturing, I suppose, but I don't know. It's not necessarily the first place you think of for major manufacturing, I would have said.
No, I guess not.
Because China does everything for super cheap.
Oh, the Chinese.
Oh, that slave labour. That wacky slave labour.
Oh,
I know, the views of the Button Mash host. Go on.
Right, you beat me to it, don't you?
So yeah, with it being ridiculously expensive, I guess they don't sell a whole lot of consoles. If you look at any of the discussion on any of these articles about it, 'cause there's been a few over the last week, people in Brazil are often like, look, it's cheaper to literally get on a plane, go to America, buy one there, and then come back, or go to Mexico. I think a lot of people just hop over the borders to Mexico to go pick one up, and then it's like, okay, I'm back, I've got a console for $600 instead of $1,800 or whatever. It's still more than it was, but it's still a third of the price of the Brazilian ones as well, so hey, there's that.
I just like the support of loads of Brazilian people, like, getting on, like, illegal ferries and crossing the borders into Mexico.
From what I hear, there is a surprising not really black market, more of a grey market for that kind of thing because because it's so ridiculously expensive. So one could perhaps understand where where Nintendo's coming from. It seems like the Brazilian government should probably stop forcing them to charge those prices. I guess it makes it rather unsustainable. I believe they also have a lot of issues with digital distribution as well. You'd have thought digital distribution would get around a lot of that, but again, I think there's a lot of regulation stuff that stops them doing it that way, and it's a complete nightmare and headache. So at the end of the day, Nintendo's just kind of turned around and gone, well, sorry Brazil, we can't sell anything to you anymore. Although, like I say, I suppose if most of what they're doing is going over the borders to Mexico to buy it, I suppose it still seems like, I guess you could just pop over the borders to go buy a Wii U as well while you're picking up your PS4. Assuming
why we would want to.
Well, Smash Brothers, I think, is a fairly compelling reason for a lot of people.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that.
It's not one that works for me, but I think a lot of people probably are buying the Wii U for the new Smash Brothers. I don't know how much else they're buying it for, but I'm sure Nintendo will manage to rehash a few other titles that people will be interested in. There's obviously Mario Kart as well. 8. Jesus.
This is another bet wager, isn't it going to be? How many
What?
Mario Karts are there?
How many Mario... well, the latest one is 8. I imagine it'll be somewhere in the region of 8.
Okay, fair enough. You've killed the drama.
I don't know, I mean, there may... I don't know how they're counting that one. I presume that counts the little titles, like the GBA ones as well. But I've never really delved into it to any great extent to check that the numbers add up. I've never cared enough, if I'm honest. But it feels like there would be about 8 if one added them all up. But I don't care enough.
No, I can't say I do either.
Honestly, I've not really been compelled to buy any of the new Nintendo stuff in a while. It's just same old over and over again. I know a lot of people do get excited for it, but honestly, I ain't moving until you bring back my F-Zero, goddammit. If you're going to rehash franchises, at least make ones that I want to play.
I'd say I'm really tempted to just go out and buy another GameCube, because I haven't had one in ages.
Do it, it's a great console.
Oh. You get them for like a tenner now as well.
You can, yes, you can get them from a tenner, and it's a bloody fantastic thing. And I found a link on something while I was perusing for news earlier. There is a third-party manufacturer now, because if you remember when the Smash Brothers launched, they said, hey, there's this GameCube adapter that allows you to use it with the Wii U, and then they sold out really quickly, and then they were like, oh yeah, for whatever reason, there was a massive, massive shortage, and it was damn near impossible to get hold of. And I think someone said, oh yeah, it should be possible to reverse engineer this for PC. Yeah, there is now a third-party manufacturer that will do, for $20, will do you a GameCube controller adapter for Wii U and PC, plugs in via USB port. I'm pretty tempted to have one of them.
Yeah.
That's 13 quid that works out at. So,
not bad at all.
So 13 quid, you could plug your GameCube controller into your PC and play with that, assuming anything is compatible with it. I suspect it might not be.
Just a theory.
So, well, obviously with these things, they always have the disclaimer. It's like, oh, we make no guarantees that this will work for you. It's just kind of it's just a bit of hardware. It might not do what you want it to. It does say on the feature, it does say it supports the Dolphin emulator, which is the GameCube and Wii emulator. So, I guess that's a thing. Admittedly, last time I tried running the Dolphin emulator, that was really weird because the game was locked to the frame rate, which meant if the frame rate dropped below 60, the game went into slow-mo. So I was playing Animal Crossing, and then, I don't know, I think it was probably like Skype did some shitty thing in the background, and suddenly the frame rate just went to 30, and suddenly the game is running at half speed, and I'm like, oh, well, what's happening here? This is very, very bizarre. And I was kind of, at that time, I was toying with the idea of recording a series on Animal Crossing. I was like, no, this is just, it's not going to be viable. If any drop in frame rate makes it run in slow motion, yeah, we can't be doing with that. That's no good to me at all. But I like the idea, I like the concept. Oh man, that'd be a great one just to throw another spanner in the works for Roche Fusion, because they have, as I mentioned before, they're having so much trouble with the controllers, and that one guy who's using the N64 controller is like, you're not helping things. If I was like, my GameCube controller doesn't work either, it's like they'll just be like, I want to strangle you. I have a 360 controller, it works fine, stick with it. It works for all the things. If they weren't so bloody expensive, I'd be looking at a Xbox One controller as well, because they're quite nice things. I must say I quite like those.
What's the difference? I've never had an Xbox One.
It's pretty much the same controller. They've just kind of refined it a bit. It's just the same. At this point, all the controllers for all the consoles are pretty much of a muchness, but I'm going to say a lot of people would say, oh, the Xbox 360 controller is, pretty much the definitive controller. It's really goddamn ergonomic. Everything's exactly where you want it to be. It's got enough inputs to do all the things. It's a pretty versatile controller. And then with the Xbox One, it's just, I don't know, they just changed the design a bit, so it's just a bit nicer. I think it's maybe a little bit more ergonomic. I think the shoulder buttons are a bit more of a satisfying click to them, I think. As it were. I don't know. It's just a bit nicer.
No, I understand.
But I'm not going to pay 40 quid for that minor upgrade like that. Nah, it's not happening. That's not a thing I'm going to do. So, yes. That's deviated off topic a bit.
We always do.
I was talking about Nintendo. So, yes. Sorry if you're in Brazil and you like Mario.
Screwed.
Go pirate it. Well, then they in a region where they've literally not given you the option to buy it. So it's kind of, at that point, that's like one of the few really, in any way, reasonable arguments for piracy. It's like, you're literally not letting me buy it, like, at all. There is no way for me to buy it, and I wish to experience this. So I'm going to go out take it into my own hands.
As a legal disclaimer, we encourage you not to pirate.
But as a personal opinion, I think if a supplier of a particular product literally refuses to take your money, there's, I don't know, there's not much you can do other than take matters into your own hands. That's me, and my opinions are my own.
Yep.
So yeah, there you go. In all other circumstances, piracy is a terrible, terrible thing. Pay for your video games, folks. Unless they're free, in which case don't pay for them. Because,
dear.
I don't know. I don't just put it as like, well, there are free games and free-to-play games, It's not encouraging piracy to... that's the whole reason that genre exists, let's be honest. It's kind of... how can people pirate it if it's free? Although I believe people still do. Which makes no sense. This was a discussion that I believe the Co-optional podcast touched on this week, which they had Nerdcubed, and I believe Nerdcubed has recently been making a game, and he's put it out for free. It's like, hey, it's a free Nerdcubed game, which I think is probably just sort of self-promotion on his part. It's totally free, and in order to save him the bandwidth, it's like, oh, our distribution method's going to be a torrent as well, so you can get the torrent on our website to download our free game. People have still taken the game and put it on the Pirate Bay. It was like, why would you do that? It's not even a matter of torrent is my preferred distribution method. It's like, there's a torrent there. They made one available.
Well, that's a good thing because the Pirate Bay doesn't exist anymore.
Someone brought it back.
Really?
Yes.
I'm bringing Pirate Bay back. Yeah.
Good for them.
I could share the link with you if you wished. Not that I use it for anything at all, obviously.
May not.
There's a certain oldpiratebay.org which exists now, which is very, very similar in scope, I should say.
Can I just say I'm disappointed in the pair of you?
Well, yeah, there you go. It's the old Pirate Bay thing. It's like fighting a Hydra. You cut off one head, it'll grow another one. I think when they finally took down the Pirate Bay, I think they're like, aha, we've won. Nope, it's got more heads. Someone else has the head this time, but it's the same head.
No, you've cut off. You've just killed the beast, and you've looked behind it, and it's 73 million children are behind you.
Yeah, that's kind of it. It's sort of, yes, we've slain the beast, and it's got an identical twin brother.
Who just happens to have another 15 identical twin brothers behind.
Yes. So, it's like fighting an army of identical twin hydras.
You ain't gonna win.
You ain't gonna win. So, other news! This ties into what we were talking about earlier, which is Ubisoft and Far Cry. So you said, did Far Cry 4 end in a way that leaves the door open for Far Cry 5, you asked? Do you not?
I did indeed.
No, it didn't.
Well,
but they're going to make one anyway.
Okay.
So, well, I don't think any of the Far Crys particularly relate to each other anyway. Far Cry 4 is the only one I've actually played, but as far as I'm aware, I don't think Far Cry 1, 2, 3, 4, and any of the other spin-off bits and pieces that they've done actually relate to each other in any kind of way, shape, or form anyway. They're all just different things.
Okay, that's interesting. So it's just like a franchise in itself.
It's a franchise that shares a name and shares a lot of sort of features and gameplay mechanics, I guess. I don't know how different Far Cry 1, 2, and 3 were. I think they're slightly different, but I think a lot of the critique of Far Cry 4 is that it's damn near identical to Far Cry 3, except they've put it in the Himalayas rather than a tropical island. It's just a change of location. So, Ubisoft have put out a survey this week asking its users, where do you want Far Cry 5 to be? Which is pretty much just an admission that, yep, same shit, different place next year, yo. We're literally just going to clone the game, put a different skin on it, and you're going to be in a different location doing the same shit next year. So, there are what are the options? We can do Far Cry Peru, Alaska, the Vietnam War, the Wild West, a Mad Max.
If that's even a question. Always cowboys.
Yeah, I'm quite leaning towards that, to be honest. I really liked Red Dead Redemption, so yeah. A Mad Max style post-apocalyptic world, Jurassic Park, zombies. Or vampires. All I will say is, for fuck's sake, no zombies.
But vampires, really?
Apparently is an option, yes. Far Cry vampires.
It's like being back in the 2000s.
And I suppose instead of radio towers, they'll give you bell towers with a spire. You've got to climb up to the roost of the building and ring the bells like the Hunchback of Notre Dame or something. I don't know. And that will scare off the local vampires and show you where all the mini games are in the nearby area.
Vampires love their mini games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those are just kind of strange to wonder how they're going to apply to the same thing. It's not really mini games, I suppose, as much as sort of side missions, but
Right.
yeah. I don't know, I could go for more Red Dead style stuff.
Yeah, my vote's for Cowboys, definitely.
But at the same time, like I say, it's still just going to be same shit, different place, and I don't think that's necessarily something anyone really should be encouraging, to be honest. I think we should really be trying to encourage them to do something more interesting and unique, but I don't think that's what Ubisoft are going to do.
Have they ever? Really?
Nope. And let's be honest, what are the chances it's going to be a really well-refined and well-polished game that they took their time over and made sure it was the highest possible quality it could be, or are they going to rush it out to try and get it out for Christmas 2015?
I don't know what my money be on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what my money's on as well. So, yeah, that could be going down the route of Assassin's Creed Unity. There was a video that did the rounds this week, and I'm a terrible person. I can't remember what it was. Super Bunny Hop, I think, maybe? That video, I found that one on Reddit, and I saw it posted on Twitter by someone as well at some point, which is basically pointing out that there's a ridiculously astonishing number of games that were just really shitty at launch this year. Not least of which including Tetris.
How do you spoil Tetris?
It was running at a really... I don't know, it had performance issues. It was running at a low frame rate.
There weren't enough straight lines.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they managed to fuck up Tetris so much that it couldn't run at a stable frame rate.
Did one of the blocks come down as a circle? I just realised.
It was like, oh shit, what do I do now? No, I think it was quite that, but... Yeah. That's like the first shit most game developers make, is like, can you clone Tetris? Just as getting into games at all. How the fuck do you fuck that up? That's ridiculous. So yeah, that's not to say anything of Assassin's Creed Unity and the Master Chief Collection and everything else. Watch Dogs. Far Cry 4 isn't terribly amazingly optimized. It's not the worst thing in the world, but certainly no Assassin's Creed Unity, but hey ho. Yeah, a lot of really bad stuff this year, and it's speculating that most of that is just driving to deadlines. It's just that desperate urge to push things out on an annual basis. In a strange kind of way, that almost kind of makes the case for Activision kind of doing it right. Insofar as, well, now at this point they've now got 3 teams working on Call of Duty, so that each team has 3 years to make the next one in the franchise, and they just cycle them through on a 3-year basis. So that kind of works. I suppose yeah, other ones that are on an annual basis should probably be going down the same route if they want to maintain any kind of quality. But honestly, I think at the point where you're milking it on an annual basis, you've probably lost all the quality to begin with. And Ubisoft has literally described it. It's used some very strange terminology, like, I don't think it's exactly, but I'm paraphrasing, but it wasn't far from milking it on an annual basis to describe some of its franchises. So, yes, when you're milking a franchise, I'm not interested anymore. Thanks. So those are our news. Nintendo leaving Brazil, and you can go vote on Vampires for Ubisoft. Or Wild West if you're a sensible person.
All very exciting.
Yeah, it's still fairly slow. I mean, I don't know, the Brazil thing's fairly noteworthy. I just don't know what there is to say about it, other than it's a unfortunate state of affairs. So yeah, it's that early part of the year where people are still sort of waking up from Christmas, I guess. I suppose not listed on our show notes or anything, but CES is kind of going on at the minute. That's vaguely in... Well, it's maybe not gaming, but it's certainly geeky. You guys been following that? You seen any stupid gadgets you want?
No, what's this?
CES, it's the tech show. They put all sorts of... It's the point of the year when we show off all sorts of ridiculous technology and gadgets.
I saw that
I haven't followed us.
I saw that robot that was playing beer pong.
I did not see a robot playing beer pong. Oh man, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to find it again. I did have a list of... Man, there's just a list of all the things at CES. And it's just fun to browse through it and just see how much stupid shit there is. Is this list 2015 exhibitor list? No. Featured exhibitors? I might have forgot it. Either way, I can send this link to you. It's just fun to browse through it and try and find really silly things, mostly. Some of them are maybe worthwhile, and some of them are just kind of boring, but then you've got... there's one of them that is... It's like, we've got this new technology that allows you to put your tablet in your car, and it's a bit of string. You just hang it from things. You just hang your tablet from things. It's like, is this the cutting edge technology of 2015? We're going to hang our computers from a string now.
Wasn't there a belt that if you sit down for too long it tightens?
I have heard of this. Yes, I believe there is a belt which will adjust to your waist depending on how much your waist changes over the course of the day. I guess, I don't know. It's got a computer in it and it can tell when you're fat. Basically. It's just amazing to see some of the stupid shit they come up with. Some of it is tangentially related to gaming, so it's kind of got that going for it. There's more than a bit of 3D printing stuff in there, actually. And then, yes, you've got strings to hang your things on. What else? There was... I'm trying to remember. I remember that I did pick up on a few ridiculous things. I can't think of them anymore now. There's a few massage chairs, which again I feel like is technology we've had around for a while. I suppose this is cutting-edge massage chairs of the future.
There was the curved phone, wasn't there? Which I can't get my mind around why you'd want a phone that curls up.
I was in like a flexible phone. Is it totally flexible kind of thing? Is it?
It's a phone that's just curved so you can put it into your back pocket and rest and destroy it.
Really?
Yep.
Really? That's the worst thing I've ever heard of.
I can't remember for the life of me what the phone was called, I'm afraid.
I don't think it matters. It sounds fucking awful. Why would you want such a thing? I can't figure that one out. Oh, yes, I forgot about this one, yes. Child Angel, which is amazing. Which is... They put these cartoon kids on it, so it looks really child-friendly, but basically, what it is, you know how we tag criminals so that we know where they are?
Yeah.
It's that for your kids. You put a bracelet on them so that you know where your child is at all times, and you can track your child, presumably on your phone. We do this to criminals. These are for your children. Jesus Christ, people.
Well, there isn't that much difference between a criminal and a child, is there?
The views of the button mash horse do not resemble... Yes. So, yes, that was a slightly weird thing to find whilst I was browsing through those. I know they mean well, but seriously, that's how we track criminals. It was like, oh, you're out on parole, but you're going to have to wear this bracelet that tells you where you are at all times. It's like, go play in the fields, kids, but wear this bracelet so that I know where you are at all times. It's like, okay. It's putting computers into shit that doesn't need computers these days, I think. There's also a survey that came out... top of my Reddit at the moment that I'm looking at, which is someone did a survey that basically said, of all the things at CES, what do you want? And everyone's just like, better batteries? Can we have better batteries? It's like, I don't want more computers in things, I just want them to last longer. I want to have a phone that I don't have to charge every single day. It's mostly what most people want in life.
Well, you ain't getting it.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Well, to be fair, batteries are getting better. It's just that as soon as anyone says, "Hey, this battery's better," like, great, that means we can make it more powerful. It's like, and then it drains the battery faster. It's like, oh, this isn't working out. This isn't. So yeah. So go play the CES game. Find the stupidest things you can find from the trade show. Let's do some gaming releases, shall we?
And now, gaming releases!
Oh good, we do have a jingle for it, I wasn't sure.
Yep, we do, don't worry.
Cool.
You can sleep at night.
I can, excellent. What date are we on here? Where are we looking? I haven't got this page open like always. 11th of January. We have, beginning week 11th of January, there's not a whole heck of a lot on here this week either. We have Joe Danger 2, the movie for PlayStation Vita. Actually, there's quite a lot of Vita this week, actually, I think, by the looks of it. Seems like everything's playing catch-up to get all the stuff on the Vita that wasn't there before. So maybe it's becoming a worthwhile console, maybe. Joe Danger 2 is sort of a side-scrolling platformer-y racing kind of thing where you're a stuntman and you have all sorts of weird stunts and shit to do. It's supposed to be pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks alright, the artwork's not too offensive.
And I believe actually, I know that because I applied to work for them. The Vita one is made by a company based in Bradford. The port was done by a Bradford company. Yeah. So there you go. So go support local industry. Go buy that for your Vita. I'm not going to bother because I don't have a Vita.
Only buy this if you have a Vita.
Only buy this if you have a Vita. If you have a Vita, it's supposed to be pretty decent, so probably worth a look. We have, also for the Vita, we have Atelier Ayesha Plus The Alchemist of Dusk. Which is
Great name.
JRPG, I think. It looks very JRPG.
Did we not do this last week? Or is this something that looks extremely similar to it?
They all look the same.
The views of the bottom shows.
I play this shit and I'll quite happily admit they all look the same. And actually, yeah, I can't see one on there from last week, so maybe it's been pushed back. But yes, it's JRPG shit. I say shit. I mean, I'd probably as I say, 10 years ago, I'd probably quite enjoy it. These days, I ain't got time for that shit. I wouldn't mind sinking my teeth into a JRPG kind of thing these days, but I would never ever get anywhere close to finishing it. I just know I wouldn't. It wouldn't happen. Revenant, the Dark Revenant. Brandish the Dark Revenant. I said Revenant, the Dark Revenant. No, this is Brandish the Dark Revenant. Which, the box art says for PSP. Is that still a thing that exists?
Apparently so.
It doesn't say it's for the Vita. No, it says it's for the PSP.
Oh, yeah, right, sorry.
Yeah, I was like, this is... I didn't think that was a thing that was still being particularly supported, actually. That's crazy. But yes, if you want to buy a PSP remake of Falcom's 1991 dungeon called Brandish, it is now available for the PSP.
Good times.
So that's the thing. We have Shakespeare's, which I feel like we've looked at some point before, did we not?
Definitely, yeah.
Must have been for different platforms, because this is for the
possibly.
Vita.
This is a 2D jousting game for devices and consoles. This is PS Vita version, so presumably, I don't know, mobile or something before. There is Monopoly Family Fun Pack.
Yes!
For PlayStation Network. I suspect this could be Monopoly, and I suspect you know what Monopoly is. Probably shouldn't buy it.
I've never heard of Monopoly. Will you please tell me what it is?
Nope.
Oh.
We have Lufia, The Legend Returns, which is the third game in the Lufia series. Was originally released in September 2001 only for Game Boy Color, it says on it. I don't think it's only for Game Boy Color anymore. It is now on your 3DS, if you want your Game Boy Colors on your 3DS.
Alright.
That's the thing you can have. I don't know what that is. I think it's more JRPG stuff. We have WWE Immortals.
I'm
for
a
the
wrestling fan.
iPad.
I'm a wrestling fan. I have absolutely no idea what this is.
This is a free-to-play mobile game featuring epic superstar battles in a fantastically reimagined WWE world developed by NetherRealm Studios.
I'll tell you what. I'll download this and give you a review.
Excellent, do that. Do you have any iOS devices?
I have an iPhone.
Oh, okay. Do you? Okay, cool. Well, do that then. Yes.
Cool.
There is a guy there that looks a lot like Superman.
No, that's John Cena. And
Was John Cena Superman?
He's portrayed as Superman, yes.
Okay then. Alright. I'll let that one slide. I didn't know if they'd done some really... it does seem like they have. I didn't know if they were kind of doing this up as some really silly kind of... These wrestlers are all now superheroes and epic warriors from history or something. Or is that exactly what they're doing here?
I don't know. I'm slightly worried.
Because there's like... these wrestlers have got like shields and plate mail and like... helmets and shit. There's one guy that looks like a Roman centurion, and it's like, do they wrestle in that shit?
No, this might be one of those ill-fated wrestling attempts into modern culture, like the time they did a rap album.
Fair enough.
But I shall play and get back to you.
Okay. It's free to play. I can't help but think it's probably one of those things that's really, really attempting to ruin a franchise.
That doesn't exist yet.
Well, WWE is a thing that exists. I'm just thinking like Dungeon Keeper, it's like, oh, there's a lot of people who are fans of this. Can we alienate them all by making something really shitty that's free to play and going to gouge them for money? Probably.
Yep.
It could be that, but yes, report back. Maybe it's really decent. Maybe I'm being unfair. We have... apparently from the Sega Mega Drive, from October 1987, Afterburner 2.
I think it's looking very Top Gun.
Uh-huh. I don't know whether it's as good as Top Gun.
Possibly not.
But yeah, that's looking pretty basic. That is more of your retro stuff being put on the 3DS in the hopes that you will buy it. And finally on PC we have Ghost Scurry, which I'm not sure what that is. All I know is if we had Sunil here, he'd be able to tell us, because I'm quite sure he's played a lot of that. I've seen him playing that a lot on Steam. But the game page here has fuck all about it. However, I think I did have this slated for our Steam releases, so I can probably find that on Steam fairly easily.
Transitioning into the next section.
Which brings us to our next section, yes indeed. Let's just do some Steam releases.
And now, Steam releases.
Oh, good lord, we have a jingle.
Hey, you complained about not having a jingle last week and bringing it back.
I didn't know if you'd picked up on it.
No, I know. No, I listen. I pay attention occasionally.
Okay. Well, we have Alphadia Genesis, which is another JRPG. Which is, again, I think something older that's being re-released. I will say it looks a hell of a lot like an RPG Maker title, but I think it might be more coincidence than anything else. I think it's just more the nature of the way they've made it, but it does look like it could very easily have been made in RPG Maker. It looks... Yeah. I was going to say, visually, it doesn't look a million miles different from... what was it? Golden Sun Dark Dawn. Which was not an awful game. It was pretty reasonable. So, yeah. Actually, yeah, that's actually an interesting one. You know I said I never have time for JRPGs? It wasn't that long ago when I played Golden Sun Dark Dawn. That was only like a year ago or so. So, yeah. We have War, the game.
What is it good for?
I feel like War has been done as a game format before, but you know... I feel like that might have been done once or twice in the history of gaming. Someone might have covered the topic of war, but this is War the game. Which is interesting. Will probably be interested in this. It's an RTS on a spherical map.
It doesn't have robots.
It does not have robots. It's supposed to be realistic in a present-day setting on the planet Earth. But it is an RTS on a spherical map, the spherical map being Earth. I do like that in the description of it, it's like, the map is a spherical version of Earth. That's new. It's just like that's new at the end of it.
It's very matter of fact, isn't it?
Yeah. I was like, I would also dispute that as well, when you consider that planetary annihilation exists. It's like, if you're going to be literally using a spherical Earth as your map, alright, I can give you that, I suppose. If we're talking about RTS on a spherical map just generally, well, no. You've been beaten to the punch by about 3 years with planetary annihilation, I'm afraid. You're just a little bit late for that one. Also, I can't help but feel like an RTS that only has one map, surely that's going to get fairly limiting fairly quickly. I mean, I admit, the Earth is a pretty big map, probably. But, I don't know, when we're scaling it to, make an actual video game work, that's probably not going to have too much longevity, surely? Unless it turns out that the Earth is a really, really compelling map.
I don't find it that compelling in real life.
The Earth's shit, let's get a better planet.
Let's go to Mars.
Mars is so much more interesting. All those red rocks, and those other red rocks.
Mars at least has robots.
I'm pretty sure there are more robots on Earth than there are on Mars, to be quite honest with you.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, you believe that, John.
I will. I shall continue in my delusion. We have Disorder. Disorder is out. I'm not sure what that is. It's a psychological 2D puzzler. With I guess, a pixel art kind of thing going on, because everybody likes them pixel arts.
Of course.
It's got some very weird looking colourful stuff, and then some kind of grungy urban stuff. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know. You must switch between two versions of the past, dark and light, positive and negative, hope and despair. Every action is innately tied to this dualistic battle. Traverse a surreal landscape of memory to try and mend a fragile mind. As at the end of the day, an indie puzzle platformer. There are a bajillion of those, so hopefully they've got something very interesting to compel you to play that, I suppose. Otherwise, it's got a lot of competition. We have Avernum 2, Crystal Souls. I did not play Avernum 1, so I don't really know what to expect from that. It is a role-playing thing.
Very isometric.
Yeah, isometric kind of role-playing, an adventure, dungeon crawling kind of stuff, spell slinging. Honestly, doesn't look like the sort of thing that's really going to captivate my attention. I mean, I don't know. It feels like it's old. I was going to say, just looking at the screenshots, it doesn't feel like it's a modern title, but I don't know. I'm not rightly sure. I'm not familiar with the Avernum franchise enough to know whether this is a new title. It just happens to look like something from the 90s, or whether it genuinely is just like a port of something from the 90s. Anybody? Anybody know?
Nope.
Oh.
Oh well. I'm looking on their website, but it doesn't really say much. Admittedly, these specs are like not terribly high. But high, yeah, I was gonna 800. You need an 800 megahertz processor. It measures this in megahertz anymore. Jesus. I don't know. I actually can't figure out that one. Yeah.
I guess your PC is still powered by Tesla coils.
Right. What else we got? We have Reverse Sides out again.
Ooh.
Cheers. How many times have we announced this? Like 6, 7 now? Something like that. It's been a lot.
I think I think we're on par with the Land Before Time releases.
It is, yes, getting up there. Who knows? This is supposed to be out at time of recording, 3 days. It has been pushed back so many times at this point that who fucking knows whether it actually will or not? Probably not. If past history is anything to go by. But we've mentioned that before, and we will mention it again in the future in 2 weeks' time or something, probably. We have
you're cynical.
Yes, it's what I do. We have Tristoy, which is grab a friend and try to escape from the dungeons of Tristoy in a story-driven co-op platformer. Which, I don't know, doesn't look terribly amazing. I'm not sold on that style. It reminds me a fair bit of A Valley Without Wind, and I know that style was notoriously unpopular.
I didn't like it at all.
No.
It was constantly comparing itself to Terraria. I really love Terraria.
What, A Valley Without Wind was compared to Terraria?
Yeah.
What? Really? You reckon? I don't think it had anything to do. I don't think it was any other than the fact that it was 2D. I don't think it had any particular similarities. Not really.
Maybe that's just what I'm hearing.
So this is something I won't be able to check out because it's co-op. So I kind of feel like that perhaps limits the audience when it's like, oh yes, this is multiplayer only. It's like, great. Well, that's a large part of your audience just ain't gonna buy it because of that now. Well, there you go. That's what they've made. We have... what the hell is this one? Questerium Sinister Trinity HD Collector's Edition. Which is quite a lot of things. Oh, this is a hidden object game, right? Oh, it's kind of a casual puzzle kind of thing with a hidden object game, and I'm looking at the trailer, and what the fuck is the trailer?
That's always a worrying...
It's got a black and white live action movie of a mad scientist locking something in some chamber, and then before it really elaborates on that, it just goes to gameplay footage. So I don't know what the hell that was. But yes, there is hidden object stuff, there are some basic puzzle stuff. If you're the kind of person who wants to do that, that's a thing. Why a hidden object game needs to be a HD collector's edition, I don't know. But,
It's all the range these days.
yes, apparently your hidden object game has been remastered in HD or something. Is this like one of the biggest point-and-click games in the world that people were clamouring for a HD remake of or something? I don't know. It doesn't seem like a franchise that really warrants HD remake things, but yeah. We have Tengami. Tengami is a good game. I will come out and state that now. Have you guys played this at all?
No?
Okay. Did you come with us to Resd when we did the button mash excursion to Resd?
No?
No. Okay. Yeah, I've played it a bit at PAX East, and we also played a bunch of it at Resd, which is it's a Japanese pop-up book style. It's a point-and-click puzzle kind of thing, but it's all done in this pop-up book style, so you have to like pull tabs and flip pages and turn bits of the scenery over and move it back and forth. It's kind of designed with tablets in mind, to be honest, but I think it would work equally well on PC, and I'm definitely interested in taking a look. It's very colourful, it's very pretty. It's made by a very charming duo from somewhere in the Midlands. I can't remember exactly where. Yeah, worth a look. I think it's out on pretty much every other format. It's like PC is the last one it's come to, I think, at this point. I think it's out on the Wii, it's out on most mobile devices at this point. And finally it comes to Steam, so yeah, we could quite go for taking a look at that. That's the thing. We have... What else have we got? We've got Tales of Aravorn Seasons of the Wolf. Which is... Oh, Winter Wolves, right. Yes, I know this studio. They, or indeed she, I think it's literally a one-woman studio that makes these. She makes mostly dating sims. Don't ask me why I know this. I'm not overly familiar with her work. All I know is that she has quite a lot of dating sims, and many of them are now on Steam. It's one of those ones where once you got your foot in the door on Steam, it seems like you can just put all your stuff, and she's made quite a lot of dating sims. And this is still a dating sim, but with RPG elements to it, I guess. It's kind of an RPG game, and I suppose you're going to date someone at the end of it. I don't know. If you're into that sort of thing, you're into that sort of that thing. Yeah. We have Gunslugs 2. Can't say I know a whole lot about this because I haven't played Gunslugs 1.
I didn't know slugs were allowed to carry guns, to be brutally honest.
It's the Second Amendment, the right to arm slugs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, obviously. This is a pixel art side-scrolling shooter thing about shooting things with slugs and guns that fire slugs, probably. I don't know. There's a really weird... The logo features a really weird sort of cubist, shall we say, interpretation of Mr. T, I think, is what that is, which is interesting. I don't know what that is. It looks like Mr. T if he was in Minecraft. Let's go with that.
Ah, Peter the Fool! We've got to help me mine this craft.
Go Scurry! Go Scurry we already did, but at least we've got some information on it now. It is a... What is it? You are piloting a ship on a perpetually assembling road suspended over a stylized and surreal landscape, taking sharp corners, evading hazards, and rushing through speed freak modes. A hard electro beat game. The trailer states, "This is a hard game." It looks, from a visual standpoint, no, maybe not so much. I was kind of thinking it looked a bit like Audio Surf, insofar as you've kind of got a road and you're just moving the ship back and forth across the road. Mostly just moving really fast and trying to dodge obstacles, I guess, is kind of the main thing of it. So I guess it's one of those games for people who like ridiculously hard challenges, kind of your Super Hexagon kind of audience, I suppose. The sort of people this one's catering to. So if you like that, that's the thing. The next one is another one that I'm pretty hyped for. That's something I'm very interested in. Karma Flow, the rock opera video game. This is something else I've seen at PAX. I'm very, very keen to take a look at this. I really, really want to play this. Really badly. It's a rock opera video game. What more do you need? They've got a lot of notable musicians from various artists. They've got singers from Sonata Arctica and Dragon Force, who are two bands I'm a big fan of. Also, Simone Simons from Epica, Danny Filth from Cradle of Filth, Alyssa White-Gluz from Arch Enemy, and Metropole Orchestre, the world's biggest Grammy Award-winning professional pop and jazz orchestra. Okay. Yeah, if you look at the trailer and stuff and listen to the music and stuff that's in it, it sounds phenomenal. I think it's mostly just a 3D puzzle platformer kind of thing, but it's all tied into music, and they've got some fantastic musicians to work on it, and it all sounds pretty compelling to me. I know they're also actually doing an actual concert. They've actually hired out a concert hall, and they're actually going to perform Karma Flow as a concert as well.
That's pretty
which is
cool.
crazy. So yes, that's the thing I've had my eye on for some time now, and I'm quite keen to take a look at that one. And finally we have Ethereum. Ethereum is another RTS. Seems to be a bunch of RTSs at the moment. 3 space empires fight for a mysterious and precious resource, the Ethereum. I don't really see what particularly sets it out from any other RTS. Just at a casual glance, it generally looks like a fairly RTS-looking RTS. If you like RTSs, have a look at it. But I don't think it seems like it's terribly... It doesn't seem like it's got anything that says, hey, check out, we do this different to everybody else. But there you go. That is Ethereum.
Yeah.
So that'll just about do our game releases for the week, I think. There's actually, going into next week, there's a bunch more ridiculously good stuff. Normally releases kind of trail off sort of after Christmas. Everyone kind of wants to get their stuff out for Christmas, and then now we've kind of got this weird 2-week period where there's a fuckload of stuff that I'm really, really keen to look at. So, indeed, even Rush Fusion is out next week, as is also Raven's Cry, which I've been banging on about for a few months now, although that's in the same that very much gets filed into the same category of Reverse Side, in the sort of when the fuck are you actually going to release it and stop pushing it back kind of category.
Shall we have a side bet of what will be released first? Raven's side. Or...
Raven's Cry on reverse side. Just out of pure hopefulness, my money's on Raven's Cry, but that's pure optimism on my part.
I'm going to go with reverse side. I think it's actually coming out.
You think they're actually going to release this time? Yep. On January 14th, reverse side, will it happen?
I would stake my reputation as a gamer upon it.
You don't have a reputation.
That's why I'm not going to lose anything if I'm wrong.
Okay. So yeah, those are things. Oh, and there's also, on the same day as allegedly Raven's Cry, we've also got GTA 5. So, yeah, quite a lot of interesting stuff in these 2 weeks, so this is cool. But that'll, I guess, do it for today. You want to take us out?
Why not? Why change a successful formula?
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much for listening to the Button Mash podcast. We really, truly do appreciate it. If you would like to find out some more things about Button Mash, you can follow our Facebook at...
Facebook.com/buttonmash.
You can follow us on the Twitter at...
Twitter.com/button_mash_UK.
You can find our presence at Steam at...
bit.ly/BM
You can check out our website at...
button-mash.net.
If you want to see John's YouTube channel, you can find that at...
youtube.com/buttonmashempire.
And as a man who's just come into the room with a club to beat me if I don't do this. If you would like to support John and his video gaming and his Patreon series, you can find that link at...
patreon.com/buttonmash. Congratulations, you shall live for another week.
Yeah, he's just left me, but he's broken one of my legs.
You didn't promote it hard enough.
Well, it was a case of either I let him break my leg or I cut off my own arm, so I think I chose wisely.
References.
Yeah. Once again, thank you very much for listening to the podcast. I don't know whether we're at liberty to discuss this, but we will have an announcement regarding an upcoming...
Oh right, yes. I don't know how we're doing this. We haven't really kind of got anything.
Well,
we have booked a date for the next Button Mash gaming event, but how we're handling the announcement at this stage, I'm not rightly certain. All I will say is we now do have a date set in stone, so I'll leave it at that.
And we'll give you some more details next week on that.
Yeah, probably.
Once again, thank you very much for listening to the podcast. We truly appreciate it. On behalf of myself, and on behalf of John.
Thank you.
And on behalf of Will.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to the Button Mash podcast. We'll be back next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.